Welcome back, guys. I've been telling you for a good long while now to get your money, get some money out of the banks. Some of you hopefully have listened. Some of you think that I'm crazy and kooky and don't know why you still watch the show. Thanks for doing that and being here. But yeah, inflation's on the rise. It's going to continue. There's a process that these things go through, and everywhere you look on that journey is a big pile of crap. Like we're going to talk about it, but it's like it gets worse in secondary markets and housing. It gets worse in your investment. It just gets worse. Every pile, you're like, oh, maybe this one will be different. Nope, it's another pile of crap. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about some things that should be different about Christians and culture that kind of isn't. We're going to be talking about the new sexy. Of course, I'm talking about obesity. So Justin Timberlake, not that type of bringing sexy back, but like a new, what's the word? Shapely, voluptuous. I don't even know. Guys, all that and more, and it all starts right now. Welcome back to the Joe Mobley Show. I am still your host, Joe Mobley, the original uncloseted conservative. Guys, before we get to the stories, today's show is brought to you by Attorney Shield. Guys, go to attorney-shield.com. The link is below. Use code SHIELDME. Of course, this is the app where you can get a licensed attorney in your state on the phone, on FaceTime immediately. If you're stopped by the police, it's foot traffic. If you have maybe a domestic situation at your house, traffic infraction, whatever it is, you just hit the button, you hit it on your phone, you hit what you need, and boom, they show up. It is super duper affordable. There are the prices there on screen for as little as about $8 a month, $7.92. You can have this service in your pocket, and it also kind of serves as a body cam for you because your attorney comes up so the officer can see them, but your phone is actually recording the entire encounter outward looking with your forward-facing camera. So, don't talk to the cops or you will get screwed. AttorneyShield.com. The promo code is SHIELDME. We've got Outspoken Samantha on tonight. Make sure you subscribe to Outspoken Samantha on YouTube, Rumble, X, Getter, Facebook. I don't know. I'm probably forgetting a platform. Samantha, how are you?
Sorry, I was just trying to move some things over on my screen,
Yes.
which is why I had just too many things going on up here. But I am good. Trying to survive summer vacation with the children at home.
I feel that.
Yeah. Well, your kids are homeschooled, so they're home
My kids
all
are
the
always
time.
at home.
Exactly. Some of us have an adjustment period of about 2.5 months of summer vacation, and then we send them back to school. So, yeah. But other than that, good.
Good.
Yeah.
So, man, I don't know. I enjoy summers here, but I also kind of miss my summers in Oklahoma and going to Dallas, going to Oklahoma City, doing all that stuff. Oh man, I miss what's that area called in Dallas? It's where Pecan Lounge is there. Deep Ellum. Oh gosh, the food there is so good.
I have no idea. We haven't spent that much time in Dallas, so we're like more north of Fort Worth. We're about 45 minutes away from Dallas, so all I know is the traffic sucks, and I don't know who laid out the city of Dallas, but it's like they decided where to put the buildings, and then the roads were an afterthought. They're like, oh, we actually have to create a way for people to get to these places, so let's put a road here. So it's kind of a mess, but we will explore it eventually. We've been here 3.5 years, so we'll see.
The food is dangerous. Here, let me see if I can pull it up. Whoops, I can spell. Yeah, it's Deep Ellum is what it's called. Anyway, I say pecan. My wife says pecan. Pecan Lodge. It's like world famous barbecue. Like they've been on a bunch of TV shows. This place, when you go, there's a huge line. It doesn't matter. Like the line is out the door, sometimes down the street, but it is so worth it. Oh my gosh. I took a soldier down to San Antonio. We had this on the way down, and on the way back, it was so good. We stopped, we got food, and he bought like 2 or 3 extra plates to put in a cooler that he bought just so he could like take it home. And which was like,
Wow,
it was like we had maybe 3 more hours of driving before we got to Sill.
that's
Anyway,
awesome.
super good. Super good. So let's jump into our super crap economy. All right, guys,
Yes.
good grief. So the economy is really bad, and
Hmm.
I try my best to bring some information. You guys know I'm tinfoil hat all the way on the economy. I am I've finally pulled the plug, and we're going to try to do electronic transacting as little as possible just for the foreseeable future. You can get on board, you can not get on board. It's not going to impact my life at all. And using cash actually doesn't impact my life. It's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting. Someone's going to try and rob me next week now. They're going to be like, this guy's got a bunch of cash. No, I don't have a bunch of cash on me. I typically have $100 or less on my person. I
Hmm.
also typically have some type of firearm. So, if you're going to try and rob me, just don't do anything crazy and I'll give you my stuff. But if you're
Hmm.
acting crazy, it's probably not going to work out for you.
So
Anyway,
ask nicely is what you're saying.
yeah, rob responsibly.
Be polite.
Oh my goodness. So I want to talk about a couple of main points. So I don't forget them. I will tell you guys off the top. We don't even need to talk about inflation. You know it. The price of eggs, milk, everything is crazy expensive. Not what the government says, but we're talking 2, 3, 4 times as much, 10 times as much for certain items. But I want to talk about phantom debt, buy now, pay later, and underwater mortgages, just the mortgage situation. All right. So starting off the top, they're telling you not to worry about these massively over leveraged homes because 82% of mortgages go to people that have good credit scores, which means nothing. It means
Yeah.
absolutely not. The useless score that means nothing, that is given by the laughingstock creditors and banks and the government to tell you you're doing a good job. 82% of people have a good one of those with above 720. Woo, good for you guys. That doesn't mean anything. That means that you're financially illiterate and you're still playing the weird Monopoly money game to get the good score. And then the next slide that they tell you to give you a warm fuzzy is, well, hey, look, the foreclosure numbers pre-pandemic and post-pandemic were still looking way good. There were way more bankruptcies and foreclosures before the pandemic. Don't worry. But what they're lying about is what I've been telling you for weeks. This is not what you're seeing is not real. These people are already bankrupt and their homes are essentially already foreclosed because they're negative $72 billion in credit card debt. They're paying their bills, they're buying their groceries, they're paying their mortgages with credit cards. So the bank owns the house and finances the mortgage, and the bank also owns the credit card that you're using to pay the mortgage. So you're taking the bank's money out of credit card debt and putting it into your mortgage debt. It doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, for those of us that are not like, this is not our area of expertise, what you're saying is these charts don't prove a dang thing. I mean, just
Nope.
because they have lower foreclosures, that doesn't mean that people are doing better financially. There's probably a lot fewer people even purchasing homes, but it also doesn't say anything about their financial situation as a whole. They have higher
Nope.
amounts of debt. They are, struggling more. They've got less in savings. I mean, just because there are fewer things going under is just not a strong indicator of how people are doing on an individual basis or even across the board. This is a very like small scope, a very limited view to look at when it comes to measuring, the well-being of our economy in general. So
Yep.
there's a lot of factors that just aren't being brought in here. And as far as a credit score, that doesn't mean anything. You can have one credit card with a $200 limit and have a good credit score.
Yep.
That doesn't mean anything.
This is why credit scores are laughable. Samantha, if I gave you $10 million cash right now today, do you know what your credit score would do?
No, but
Nothing.
I like where this is going.
It wouldn't do
I like where your
anything.
head's at.
If I gave you... Just, let's find out. Oh, man. If I gave you $10 million, I stole it. So you and I are both wanted. Yeah, your credit score would do nothing. It would do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's not a wealth score. It's a relationship with debt score, a debt management score. Do you pay your debt bill on time? And strangely, if you pay your debt bill on time and a little bit more than your debt bill, and your debt is really large, then you have a good credit score. That's the formula, guys. It's nuts. So I really like the way that you explained that. That was a good, I'm not like a finance nerd, but that was a good down to earth what's going on here. So what they're definitely not telling you is some 37% of mortgages are underwater. And what that means is you bought the house, you don't own it. You mortgaged the house, you borrowed to live in this house, which ostensibly you're a renter until you pay down the mortgage to zero and get the deed to the home. Anyway, you bought it for $1 million. You paid, we'll say that you were the most responsible of homeowner, and you paid $250,000, $300,000 down. So there's $700,000 in principal. Well, now the house is not worth the $1 million you paid for it. Now the house is only worth $550,000. So you're underwater. There's more principal debt left. There's more debt on the loan than the value of the asset. And that happened just like it did in the Great Depression because you all were stupid. You listened to your broke brother-in-law, your friend's cousin say, get a house, get a house, get a house. And everyone bought homes that didn't need homes. So the demand went up. So when the demand went up, they said, oh, we'll charge more for these houses, but the house isn't actually worth that. And then you bought homes in the worst time in the timing of the market. And now the correction is here. And the house that you bought for $1 million is worth 5.5 or 7.5.
Yep.
Why did people do this?
Because people, their eyes are bigger than their wallets, usually. And I mean, not specific, kind of related to this in the same vein. Full disclosure, I am not great with money. That has always been kind of a weakness of mine. So it is what it is. That being said, the people are making financial decisions today that make me look like a financial expert. I was watching a video the other day of this woman. It was on, I don't know, it was a TikTok video that somebody shared. And she was talking about how she and her husband both have brand new vehicles and their car payments each are like $800 to $900 a month per car. And,
oh my gosh.
And I was like, so I think total it was between $1,600 to $1,700 a month for just their car payments. That's not insurance. That's not their mortgage. That's not their groceries. And I could see her home in the background and it looked to be, a regular single family home, nothing extravagant. But I think people just get so caught up in meeting whatever the societal expectation is. You got to have a home. You got to have this size of home. You've got to have the new car. You've got to have this and that. And not thinking about how this all fits together in their budget, like how are they going to survive until next month. And
Budget?
I,
That's a four-letter word to some people.
it used to be a four-letter word to me, and still sometimes it's a little triggering. But
It's my money
it,
and I want it now.
exactly. But it just blows my mind. And I mean, I've talked a lot about Gen Z, and I featured this one woman on my video where she was a young woman talking about how she was so exhausted just from having to work full time. But she says that she was making $2,000 a month and her rent was $1,600 a month. And I'm like,
Oof.
why is your rent like 80% of your income?
Oh my
So
gosh.
I just, yeah, I mean,
Because
so
she asked, "Can I afford the payment?" That's the quintessential question that tells me you're broke. I can afford the payment. When you say I can afford the payment, I'm like, "Oh, you're broke."
yeah,
Cool.
exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, just going back to all of these things that you're just showing, it's like these little bits of information are cherry picked to get the result that you want to portray to people, to make it look like the economy is doing well, or to make it look like this is a good time to buy a home, or to make it look like people are successfully owning their homes, and it's, we don't have all these foreclosures. But there's so much that's being missed. And I think ultimately, as a society, I mean, aside from the fact that, the cost of living is astronomical and we can't afford anything, people are just making really poor decisions on top of that. So it's a very small snapshot, obviously, to drive people to a particular decision, whether it's good for them or not.
So when you bring up good and bad decisions and not knowing how bad things are, it's like you read the show planner, because the stupidest decision you could make, or one of them, this is Bloomberg's article. Great read. Highly recommend everyone look at it. Americans are racking up what's called phantom debt that Wall Street can't track. So this is what people are doing. People are doing buy now, pay later for everything. So there's $72 billion in credit card debt. And do you know how much debt they have from this? No. Nobody knows. No one has a clue, because it's not reportable. So it's not showing up on credit reports. It's not showing up with the crediting agencies, with the banks. No one knows about it except for the vendor, the person who sold you the thing and said, pay us whenever with your credit card. Maybe pay a little bit less on your mortgage and pay us. So this hasn't even hit yet.
Huh.
If we're $72 billion in credit card debt, this hidden phantom debt that everyone knows about, but nobody knows how much, guys, it's not going to be a small amount. It's going to be huge. It's crippling people. This is what they're saying. It's saying this is causing 54% of people that engage with this that were polled are saying that it's causing them to spend more than they can afford. They're worse off financially. They find it difficult to stick to a monthly budget. This one's my favorite. They're surprised about how much they owe on the buy now, pay later, because it's out of sight, out of mind. And then that bill finally comes. It's like 0% interest for 6 months, but worse. It's 0% cost for 6 months, for 12 months.
Oh my gosh.
People feel like it hurt their credit score. I don't give a crap about that. But that last piece is like, guys, if you can't see this pile of poo coming, we can't save you. We're glad you're here, but we can't help you out of this.
Yeah. I don't know. But I mean, I think one of the biggest demonstrations of our ignorance when it comes to finances was being so excited about our COVID relief checks.
Woo!
People were like, yay, free money, like thousands of dollars. And, of course, it was sold as people are going to use this to reinvest in the economy. People are going to use this to open businesses and make smart decisions and whatever. Nobody did that.
Eh.
Yeah, like nobody did that. And so now we have all of this debt added on to our national debt, and we're all worse off. But we all, took the bait. We're like, okay, well, everything is shut down. I need money. So this is a great idea. And how many COVID relief packages did they pass before we're like, okay, stop it. Like, this isn't working anymore. Yeah. We're just constantly being lured into things that are just, we're destroying ourselves, essentially.
Yeah, those checks were a joke. Everyone was so happy that that program happened. And then they were like, the checks are disappointingly small. And I was like, I'm glad the checks are disappointingly small. If they're bigger, that means more debt. This is my money. I pay taxes.
Yeah.
Stop. It's like forced charity. It's the socialist dream. We'll take your money and give it to other people. It's like, no. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, man. Did you see Matt Gaetz on Timcast last night?
I did not. I need to watch that.
He had me so fired up talking about how ridiculous the spending is. I was going to put in the show planner. I don't think I did, but we could talk about it with the enemies list. But essentially, this is how stupid this country is. This is how stupid you are as a constituent, as a citizen, guys. The last check that we cut Ukraine is more money than the entire budget of the United States Marine Corps. So Marines are being told, no, you can't have this. You can't get increased pay, or you can't get these weapons, these vehicles that would help you train and fight to defend your country. Every day. I used to work in government procurement. I know. All the time. These are the guys, these are the soldiers that first deployed to Iraq without body armor and without armor on their vehicles because of budget cuts. But Ukraine gets more money. We could have 2 Marine Corps if we didn't send them this check. Like, it's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
You're right. Absolutely. No one understands finance. You said that a couple minutes ago. No one knows what's going on.
Yep. Absolutely. No, I'm right there with you.
So here's the last thing, and we will move on. The reason that you want to hold on to cash, one, wealthy people right now, they're stocking up cash. Warren Buffett is growing a large cash position. Robert Kiyosaki, who is the rich dad, poor dad guy, he is a big debt guy. He is hoarding cash. Patrick Bet-David, probably Dave Ramsey only hoards cash. He doesn't have anything else. But the thing is, there's going to be a fire sale, because when these chickens come home to roost, everyone who's feeling this pinch, I'm not going to be feeling that pinch, they're going to be selling everything. Their car, clothes, anything of value they can get their hands on that someone might want to buy, they're going to be selling, and they're going to be selling it for whatever you will give them. If you show up and you have cash, you're going to get whatever. People who have, $1 million mortgages are going to be selling their homes for not pennies on the dollar. If it gets foreclosed on, banks are going to be selling things for pennies on the dollar. But you can't wait until the crash is here to start getting cash. It's not going to be readily available, and the government's probably going to halt certain types of transactions. Anyway, so that's my 2 cents, and I'm curious to see what awesome things I'll be able to buy. And I'm not going to be taking advantage of people, because they're really screwed where they're at, and they'd be even more screwed if they couldn't sell me their thing, if I didn't give them my cash for their thing. Anyway.
Well, but the thing with that is, if you don't get it, someone else will. So,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
mean, who's going to buy it? China. China's going to buy all these homes. They already are.
Yeah. So,
gosh.
Well, there's that. But
did you hear about the Chinese womb thing? Because their one-child policy was such a disaster, China is hiring surrogate moms to have babies that are American citizens, and then they bring them back to China to raise them in CCP indoctrination. But they have all of the, like the degree says, all of the powers and privileges herein as an American citizen. who it's weird. It's like Chinese things being made in America. It's like totally backwards.
I want every single one of those babies to go with a onesie that says "Made in America." Um, that sounds a little bit like The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes, that's what I thought. China is handmaid tailing. It's crazy.
Okay. Just make a note, guys. This is not conservatives doing this. This
Yeah.
is all because of these far left extremist policies that limit what you can do. But I'm not surprised. I mean, and how far away are we from that here? Where are we going to get our babies?
When I heard that, I was like, I'm a nerd. You get to a place where you're like, man, surely I've heard it all. And then China freaking handmaid tailing, American surrogate babies. I was like, what the?
Yeah.
I think I just wanted to go like drink some bourbon after reading that story.
Like, there's enough internet for one day.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't want to soapbox on the B block, so let's skip over to this business. So
Oh my goodness.
now, guys, what you're looking at, this is what the archetypal, the quintessential beauty queen looks like. Not white, could be any race, but this is kind of the archetype of beauty queen. Do you want to lead in this one?
Sure. You mean beauty pageants aren't really your thing?
Hey, I watched your video, and fans already know I'm all about romantic comedies. I love Miss Congeniality and Gracie Lou Freebush and all of her funny little quotes. Like, what's your idea of a perfect date? April 25th. It's not too hot, not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
Yes, such a good movie. It's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Well, you guys may have heard this about this story, but we are in a society where we are just incentivizing the worst behavior and the most destructive behavior. So yes, this is typically who we would imagine as a beauty queen. And full disclosure, I said this in my video, I did compete in one pageant in my entire life, and that was
you're a pageant girl forever.
Yeah, just I wear it with pride. It was fun. I'm glad I did it. It was a bucket list thing just to say that I did it, but it was never something that I was gonna, pursue. But there's lots of women who do these things all the time. And, everybody gets so ready for these things. Everybody's working out for months in advance. I think I worked out for like 3 weeks beforehand. And I was like, whatever we can accomplish in 3 weeks, we're good. And
you crammed for a pageant.
pretty much. I was like, what can we get done? I need the express package. So it was a lot of fun. But all of these women, I mean, the people that place in these things that move forward, they all they have a certain look about them. You can kind of pick out who is going to advance. And this is kind of what they look like a lot of times. Well, in this Miss Alabama pageant, we had a bunch of girls that looked like this. And then the winner weighed probably about 600 pounds. And this is Sarah Milliken. And this is not against her as a person. I'm sure she's lovely. I have no issue with that. My issue is with this culture, with this woke culture, we are intentionally incentivizing people to behave in the worst way, to accept the worst lifestyles. All of the people that work hard for things, that work to reach these high bars for success and learn everything that you learn along the way, that is not what we are rewarding now. We look at the crowd and we pick out the person who is most likely to have their feelings hurt by not winning, and we give them the trophy.
And it's not even everyone gets a trophy anymore. Everyone might get a trophy, but you're right. It's the person who will feel the worst gets the biggest trophy.
Yeah. And we also have these DEI standards. We have this body positivity movement. We've got inclusivity, which are all things to basically eliminate the idea of merit, eliminate hard work, eliminate, trying to push people to reach their potential, because that is what, the American system of success has thrived on, is people working for the things that they earn, trying to reach these high bars, incentivizing the best behaviors, encouraging people to be the best versions of themselves. So when you have people in charge that want the opposite outcomes for America, that want us to go in this downward spiral, that want us to pretty much destroy ourselves, then what they do is they put front and center the people that emulate the behaviors and the lifestyles that are the most destructive. And that is what we have here, is this person that is probably not going to live past the age of about 45, 50, that probably already has a whole slew of health conditions. I've watched documentaries on people that gain this much weight and people admitting that they have things about their body that they are never going to be able to reverse, even if they were to lose all the weight, that are on countless numbers of medications. So that is where this young woman is headed. So when you put somebody up front and center, you put the people up there that you want everybody else to use as an example. And I can't see anything positive coming from putting up someone up there front and center that, like I said, is probably going to die within the next 15 to 20 years. And I don't say that to be morbid. It's just true.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I, again, don't want to shame this woman. I don't care for the ad homs against her. I care for the real attack, the real devaluing of truth. This is not healthy. That's true. Just like if you had a friend who was an alcoholic or a drug addict, you would say, hey, what's healthy for you, what's best for you is to give this up. What's best for her is to give this lifestyle up. But now, through no fault of her own, she got here through personal accountability. But now, through no fault of her own, she is incentivized to stay this way because we all have to lie to her because of feelings. And I hate that they're using the word inclusivity. That's not what inclusivity means. You're not excluded from something because of your weight, except for the opportunity to live a long and satisfying life and to be here for your friends and family and your loved ones. That's what you're not being included in. This is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, inclusivity is pretty much a total denial of the truth and facts and science and reality. Inclusivity means whatever habits, however I want to live my life, whatever I want to do, nobody can say anything about it. If you point out the truth, if you tell me that there is going to be any negative outcome, no matter how true it is, then you are being discriminatory. So it pretty much just blocks people like us from talking to people that are, engaged in these behaviors and talking them out of doing them, trying to encourage them to be better. So it's silencing people for trying to help people overcome challenges and not behave this way. And it's sad because, people like this, she's got a podcast or something, and I'm sure lots of young women listen to it. So she's out there encouraging people to be their authentic self. And it's like, is your authentic self somebody that is extremely unhealthy to at a deadly level? I mean, that's not anybody's true authentic self. So yeah, it is just this elimination of truth. And I mean, it also just really bothers me that it's this elimination of, encouraging people to reach these higher bars to be better. We're not incentivizing people who work the hardest, who are the healthiest, both mentally and physically, who are the most disciplined, who are the most motivated. We're incentivizing people who are the most lazy and who destroy themselves, basically. And
I don't even know the way out of this.
Yeah.
This part, I have talked with a lot of people. They come and they're like, hey, I see that you say the quiet part out loud at work, at church, with like in real life. But when we talk about this, I have no advice. I have no clue what to do about this.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and just a couple of months ago, we talked about that doctor that had graduated
Yeah.
from the medical. I'm not sure if she was probably from Harvard, who knows. But basically saying like she wouldn't talk about weight with her patients, even if Sarah Milliken walked in there and said that she was sore or she was having some kind of issues, but she did not want to talk about her weight, that doctor truly believes it is her job to ignore that person's weight. It would be her job to preserve Sarah's feelings over actually saving her life. Just because that's how Sarah feels in that moment, just because Sarah is insecure in that moment about talking about her weight. So yeah, how do you get out of a situation like that? How do you change people's mindset when it's being instilled in these institutions and the experts are even advising people to do things that are quite literally going to kill them?
Yep. I have no idea. I'm gonna try and say this right, just for comedic effect. But it's the same thing. Like if a oh man, I don't know. I always get confused by this. It's because I don't do it. If I did it in real life, then I would know right off the bat. It's like if a trans man went in to the doctor and no wait, and she said
Mm-hmm.
anyway, it's like it's like if a biological man who believes they're a woman goes into the doctor and describes that they're having all these pains and concerns in what could only be described as testicles, and the doctor has to ignore that. It can't pursue test scanning screens for testicular cancer because this woman, she couldn't possibly have that. It's like, that's the game that you want to play right
Yeah.
now? Like, are you serious? I can't even say that scenario right. Anyway,
Yeah. But I mean, just how dangerous is it to have a medical system like that where you're only allowed to treat the things that the patient imagines their problems are based on. You can't actually say no, you are a biological woman or you are a biological man. Therefore, the tests and the things that you are requesting are not going to be beneficial to you and they are not going to help us solve the problem. You're not actually allowed to do that because it's going to make you discriminatory and bigoted. Like how many people are going to die because of that?
I have no idea. I don't even know. May Strong says we haven't heard this much about Miss Alabama since Brent Musburger's off the wall comment in 2013 football game. I don't even know what that's about. I was just doing soldier things in 2013. I guess I not up on
I
my
miss that.
pageant news. Yeah.
Well, and one more thing I just wanted to say really
Shoot it.
quick. Um,
Yeah.
it's interesting because we used to see like special treatment as a negative thing. Like we didn't, nobody wanted to win something based on special treatment because that was an insult. It's like people wanted to know that they earned something based on their hard work, that they actually earned it based on meeting the requirements and that they could do it knowing, they did everything that was asked of them. And to find out that perhaps someone put in a good word for them or somebody fudged the numbers or special treatment because this, that, or the other, that was always a bad thing. Now it's like special treatment is a virtue. People want special treatment. They want to be singled out in some way. They're like,
Yep.
I know I didn't earn this, but I want to be pointed out as the girl that weighs like 500 pounds and I earned it because I don't look like these other girls, because I don't work out, because I don't eat healthy. Like, I mean, and it goes the same when they just crowned Miss Maryland is a biological male. That was a story that came
Oh,
out
I
this
missed
same week
that.
that people, yeah, that people were talking about. And it's astonishing because if you it could, and this could apply to anything. It could be a promotion, it can be a scholarship, it can be anything like that. Knowing that if you enter something like this and you're doing all the work, the second somebody that you are competing against somebody that is morbidly obese or somebody that is transgender or somebody that has some other kind of victimhood label, that there's a really good chance that you now stand no chance of winning.
Yep.
That
Yep.
it's going to go to the person that is the most victimized.
That counts in contest, on the field, also counts. I'll look at it, May Strong. It also counts in work,
Yeah.
promotions, and
Yep.
pet projects and that kind of thing. It's a weird world. When you started that comment, I couldn't help but think of what hardworking and high achieving intellectual blacks thought and felt and advocated for when affirmative action was being pushed through the rickets, because they, like myself, didn't want to face the situation of, did I get here because I earned it, because I'm good enough, because I'm smart enough, talented enough, whatever, I can do the work, or did I get handed this because of my race, which is totally random. I could have been Asian, Indian, white, just totally random,
Yep.
And it's really stupid and nonsense, and it causes everyone to feel kind of weird. Hardworking, high achieving people and lazy, high achieving people, because of affirmative action.
Right.
They're all kind of like, there's imposter syndrome from them, and there's a little bit of uncertainty from us, like, oh, is this happening because I'm a woman, or like, can I actually hack it here, or what's the deal? And it's anti-civil rights. It's the opposite of the civil rights movement. It's just totally stupid, guys. I can't stand it. I will tell you, as a black man, I can't stand it. I think all of that crap needs to go away. It's unconstitutional. The Supreme Court said it was unconstitutional, but will do it for a time. How they can even pass that as a judgment is insane.
Yep.
Gosh, this freaking country. I swear. All right, so speaking of things that this freaking country does, the Biden administration is just off the chain, guys. Not in a good way. It's just, when you think you've seen it all, you haven't. Not from Biden. So apparently there's an enemies list of Trumpists and communists that's been published by a Ukrainian NGO, which is like a nonprofit, a non-governmental organization, that's linked to Biden. And obviously, Vladdy here, America's largest independent. Please don't claim him on your taxes. I'm putting him on mine, and I don't want to get in trouble with the IRS. But so both of them have been getting blasted, and this NGO have been getting blasted by J.D. Vance and Matt Gaetz on the Hill, because there's this freaking nonprofit who is giving a stink about not getting all the money that they should get. And it's because of evil MAGA extremists. It's because of people like Elon Musk, Jim Banks, Jack Posobiec, Charlie Kirk. Basically, a content creator that you watch that's more significant, more substantial than Samantha and myself is on this list. And this is just this is like the icing on the cake, just the people that they could probably think of to at here. Donald Trump. Is Jim Jordan in here twice? No, I said Jim Banks. I said Jim Jordan twice. I meant Jim Banks. Ben Shapiro, and on and on and on. And if you really want to nerd out, you can like get in here and see, like, they did a full, like, beautiful mind matrix of these people, like Donald Trump and all of these people he's connected to. They blame they blame these ideologies. MAGA, Real America's Voice. Proud to be a contributor of Real America's Voice. Grant Cardone, you made the list, dude. Now, here's the problem. How is it that not only they can talk trash about us, but they can put prominent Americans, legislators, businessmen, billionaires, a president of the United States, who else is on here? The entire Libertarian Party made it. RT, I don't even know what that is. What is RT? We've got websites, we've got prominent authors, we've got a whole bunch of publications, and InfoWars, of course, is on here. But anyway, Tucker Carlson's circle is just as big, probably a little bit bigger than Fox News. That's good for you, Tucker. How is it that they can put out a list of enemies? These voices, these people need to be stopped. They need to be suppressed. These are all Americans. These are American companies, American citizens, American political leaders. And we are going to put them on an enemy list, a take action list. And who are we? We're a Ukrainian NGO that's trying to get their money. So we're saying stifle these people, defame these people, so I can take their government's money, which is their money. This should not be legal at all.
Well, I mean, considering the administration we have right now, is anything off limits these days? Yeah,
I mean, got crack in the White House, and
yeah,
I'm just waiting for a sex scandal to drop, and my bingo card will be complete.
Well, I mean, we had Hunter with the underage victims of trafficking, so it kind of,
it's got to be like in the White House.
Well, like we had like this. Well, there was the gay couple that was.
I think I burned that from my mind.
As you should.
You're right. My bingo card is good. Yep. Oh, dude. Yeah, that was an unprecedented pounding in the Senate hearing room. Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for bringing that back up.
Hey, I got you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, of course, there are so many things wrong with this, but for me, where my mind goes is we've seen how much conservatism has been targeted in the US. And I mean, and I don't think I'm the only one. I don't think that it's limited to just America. I think we've got like this global effort, this one world order, this one world government. So obviously anybody that thinks like we do has got to be silenced and wipe off the map. And I think this is kind of a global effort across the board to do this from anywhere on the planet and not just within our own administration. And I could be, I can be off my rocker here. I have no idea. But the fact that this is coming from somebody that was trained supposedly by our own State Department, and now they're in Ukraine, and we're giving all of our money over to Ukraine and not worrying about our own country's needs. And they just happen to have this full list of the same people that the administration running our country wants to silence. This just seems like a global recruiting effort to again silence everybody that is not that goes against essentially what they want to do and their agenda. So I don't know.
I see in my mind the State Department piece. I see crooked Hillary Clinton. Bill's off doing whatever Bill's doing, but I see Hillary Clinton like sitting there with Vlad and this NGO and saying, all right, these are the people we've got in our pocket. This is how you play this game. These are the levers to pull, and just giving a masterclass. She gave a masterclass on masterclass.com on resilience, which is frightening, but I see her giving a masterclass on corruption and Is bitchery a word? We'll say it is for tonight.
Sure.
Because that's what... This is the kind of thing, if this got deleted and the emails destroyed, then this is exactly the kind of thing that she would do. Because maybe they get deposed and they're supposed to come to Congress, and then this website and all the servers that it was on, they all get whitewashed and just completely wiped out. Then, yeah, that'll just be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, well, as you said, this is not something that should be legal. This is not something that should be happening. And our government should be the first ones to step up and say, this is not okay. We are not sending you any more money. I mean, but it has been absolute crickets. Has anybody from the Biden administration said anything about this? Of course not.
Nope.
Have they, denounced it? Have they discredited it? Have they anything negative? Even anything? Like, has Biden like pooped in the direction of Ukraine? Like, just
Oh no.
anything negative towards this would be amazing, but it's not going to happen. And I think that's, I wouldn't say the most shocking part. It's probably not shocking, but probably the most evil part of it is just the fact that our administration, we are handing millions, billions of dollars to this country, and now they've got a target list of, people that they want to silence, and the Biden administration isn't doing anything. To me, it's almost like leaving, American soldiers or American citizens in other countries, just ignoring the targeting from other countries of our own people. So it's just as bad when that happens overseas as it's happening in this way as well.
I just hate so much of just the flavor, just what's going on in this country. Still not calling for violence, but like whatever's going to happen, I just want to get to it so we can get over it and get on to doing something else. This is a disturbing picture of Hunter Biden. Oh my gosh.
You're going to have to be more specific.
You're firing on all cylinders tonight. Yeah. I think it's him and his dad kissing, or not kissing, but anyway, it's not great. I'm looking who's live on Rumble so I don't forget the Rumble raid when I get off. Stu Peters is on. I think Laura Loomer is on too, so I think I'm going to raid her channel. Well, I definitely want to talk about this one last thing, if we can just go a minute over. So this Sunday at my church was youth takeover, which essentially means that the youth take over the service. The youth pastor preached, and the youth, they did music, they did sound, they did the greeting and ushering people to their seats. The youth already are heavily involved in the child ministry, taking care of toddlers and teaching classes to like the elementary and middle schoolers and whatnot. But they did all the things. They operated the church building, the service on Sunday. And some things about it, just I did security this Sunday, so sometimes when I'm doing security, it's like I see the service differently. I see it as someone who's working, and not a congregant sitting there. We sit in the front row and just kind of sit there and take notes and whatever. Anyway, so I'm in the back of the room and I'm in the lobby and roving and doing all the security things. And I'm just struck by the fact that nothing has really changed since I was a junior, senior in high school. The way that they do these youth call outs for graduating seniors, and they parade out all of the graduating seniors and give them like a senior gift. And essentially it's a little bit of a, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a weird extra biblical thing that we do, which is fine, but you see the shame or embarrassment in people who aren't going to college, or they don't even go. My wife and I were talking about this in bed the other night. Like, some kids who know like they're not going to college, they actually dread that event when everyone gets called to the carpet and they put up your little baby photos and it's like, oh, Joe Mobley graduated this year, he's going to Liberty University in the fall to study XYZ, whatever. And it just hit me, like 90% of the families here are just acting out the script that the progressive losers have given us. They're still not having those real conversations like I've had with my kids, my 9 and 8 and probably my 5-year-old now. College is kind of useless. It's very woke. It's not just the curriculum, but the professors are insidious. Some of them have a real serious war against the God of the Bible, not against religion, not against Islam, not against Hinduism, specifically against Jesus Christ, the one true God, specifically against Christianity. And they are dogmatic about it. And I'm like, so 9 out of 10 of these kids, 9 out of 10 of these families are still like, kid, you got to get good grades in high school, and then you've got to go to college. But we also say college is kind of useless. Charlie Kirk has done an extraordinary job of proving just about how useless college is. He's smarter than all of the college-educated people that he gets in front of to debate or to ask questions about economics or about literature or poetry, whatever. It turns out you can just read books at home and learn and work. But still, Christians, us guys, I'm talking to you, are saying we have to do all of the things. And you send a little Christian, a little patriot to college and you get back a blue-haired communist. And I'm like, why are we still doing that? Why are we still setting aside time in the church to say, look at all of the impressionable young men and women that we are throwing into the freaking lion's den? And I know about those families. I know that they're saying, I'm sending my child to be salt and light. And it's like, no, you've not prepared your child. My 9-year-old is more prepared, and my 8-year-old, who are calling out lies in real time and looking at adults and saying, that's not what the Bible says.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and not to cut you off, I didn't know if you were done.
No, I'm bloviating now. Please go.
No, you're totally fine. I kind of have, we don't have that experience in my church, but in general, like, just the sending people off to college and making a big deal about it type thing. But I do know a lot of people that are sending teenagers to university. And I have the same thought a lot of time, like, really? Why? I think it speaks to, again, like, I think we are both aware of how little people are still not paying attention. People are not aware of what is going on. And I have this thought every time I know of Christian friends of mine that I go to church with that still go to Disneyland and still have Disney Plus. And, just people that are not aware of what their kids are learning in school, not going over their homework with them, and not aware of the country's debt, not aware of the education system, not aware of what's happening at the border. There's just so many things that they just don't realize how much the world has changed. And, as much as our value systems have to remain the same, I think that is why we kind of have to start steering our kids in different directions, because the world has changed, but our values are the same. So yeah, no, I think it speaks to that. But it makes me wonder if people sometimes think that because they are of a Christian faith, or, they're active in their church and their community, and they think that they've prepared their child well enough, that they think their kid is going to be okay. That even if this kid is faced with all of these lies and all of this deceit and all of this brainwashing when they go to a liberal university, that they've prepared them to stand up to, things that aren't true, or they're going to recognize when their professors are trying to teach them something that doesn't make any sense, or that is something that they know to be evil. And
Mhm.
as much as we all want to think that our kids are ready for that, I don't see the point in intentionally sending them into that environment, especially if you don't have
It's
to.
the same as your child is 25, they got married at 23, and you're sending them like a prostitute, or like
Mhm.
you're sending them something exceptionally bad with your blessing. Here, do engage in this. It's so dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and we see it all the time. I mean, I posted a short video on my channel yesterday of this woman, and I didn't talk about it in the video even though I should have, but she was saying how she didn't pay attention to feminism before she went to college because she was stupid. And now,
Oh, I
looking
saw that
back,
one.
she was just like, but now, life is about freaking doing whatever you want. I want to, basically saying she wants to disrespect men and do all of these things. Like, just her perspective, she was so venomous and so hostile. I'm like, this woman is going to be alone for the rest of her life. But it was just like, do you realize that you had a healthier perspective about life before you went to college? And now this shift in who you are as a person, you are so angry, and you are so, I mean, I don't throw this word around lightly, but hateful and toxic, and all these things that they throw at us, and it's like, that's what you now embody. That's what you paid for. That's what you went into debt for, was to turn into this person.
Yep.
And you were better off beforehand. So I've told my kids, I'm
Maestro.
like, there's no point.
Yeah. College is paid for my kids, and I'm telling them I wouldn't go.
Still,
Uh, yeah.
free college isn't worth it.
Yeah. Meisherog says in the chat, I'm talking my daughter out of college and working towards the trades. Absolutely agree. Trades, going out and just getting a job, freaking entrepreneurship, all these things are better options
Yeah.
than the time out of the workplace, than the exorbitant cost. College is 4, 5, 6 years of delaying, of prolonged adolescence, of delaying your entry into the workforce, of staving off responsibility and paying bills and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of people aren't getting married. I got married in college, like before I graduated. Most people do not do that. Oh man, college is causing so many issues, and we know the Department of Education and the Fed, with the money that they give to state institutions, it's the whole institution is controlled by the left. I know you're not all sending your kids to Liberty University, Hillsdale College, Patrick Henry. I know you're not. You're sending your kids to tech and to state blah 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 school, and you are going to pay for that, my friends.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, and just on that note, I was watching a random TikTok video of this gal. She was talking about how she went to school for art or something like that, something that's already useless. But she, art, she went there for 4 years, studied something in depth, art history, background, all this stuff, became what she would consider to be an expert in this field. And when she was done with her degree, she's recording herself as she's reading through this textbook, and she's like, years and years of college, and she's like, 30 minutes of reading this book, I know way more than I have ever learned in any of my classes. And she's just like, what did I learn? All of these things that it's describing here, none of my professors ever touched on any of this, and this is actually useful information. So it's just not worth it anymore. And I know, just as a side note, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do when I graduated high school, if I wanted to go to college. So I actually went to cosmetology school because that was something I was interested in. And my mom, she didn't tell me this till years later, but she told me when I told her I was going to go to cosmetology school, she's like, really? Like, you could do so much more than that. And I didn't know that, but she also didn't know the things that I would be able to do with it. It's something that gave me flexibility. It was something that I loved doing, very minimal debt. It was something I
It
was able to
didn't
start
take
my own
5
business.
years. It was
Yeah,
minimal time for you to get started working with a skill. I can't do
yeah, I
that.
was working with that skill while I was in school, and by the time I was out, I was able to do a job. I started
Yeah,
my own business. I was able to be home with my kids. I only worked on the weekends, and I make more in a weekend than most people do for an entire work week. Like I work one Saturday and make more. So, people like to say, "Well, you're just, dumb beautician or whatever." But I'm like,
that's a high ticket
"Okay,
item. You can
yeah,
do wedding parties. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. This is something people pay money for. I've traveled, I've gotten trips paid for to travel out of the country. So it's really we've
People
got to you've
can't
got to find the
think.
thing that you're interested in.
Yeah, people can't think about what you're saying. They're just like the programming, the programming. They said
Yeah.
get good grades. They said go to college, buy this house, buy that car, get a dog because you can't have kids. Like what the
Yeah.
guys? Not good. Well, look,
Yeah.
if you made it this long, then you are a fan. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're pushing podcast on all the things because we always are. It's the Joe Mobley Show. Wherever you listen to podcast, make sure that you are subscribed to Outspoken Samantha on all the things. Follow her on X and Facebook. For some reason, I follow you everywhere, but I see your stuff most on Facebook. I don't always get your tweets. I don't think
Yeah.
anything weird's going on. But anyway, if you want to see the members only show, it's free. Just go to thejoemobleyshow.locals.com or, oh wow, that actually went away a little bit faster. Or you can support the show, $5 a month. You can become a paid supporter, thejoemobleyshow.com/join. You get a members only mug and shirt sent to you when you do that. And I think I said all the things. The member only show will start it's supposed to start in 1 minute. It'll probably start in 3 to 5 minutes over on Locals. Samantha, do you got anything?
Nope, I think you covered everything. Go subscribe, follow, do all the things, and come back next week. Same time, same place. We'll have more exciting things to talk about, I'm sure.
That's all we got, guys.
Mhm.